I'm Benjamin. I'm coming from Holland. And I'm right now in Haidakhan. And I try to tell my experience with Babaji. Haidakhan Babaji. It's pretty difficult to tell because I catched up with many stories, and they are all very beautiful, very educated people, all people with status and with a lot of good things in their life. Maybe my story is a little bit different, but my principles were at very young age already on the path, like the teachings of Baba. Only I was and I am not religious, and I never believed anything. I'm in my 57th year of life, and about when I was 35, I knew that I had to make a change. And I knew that already for a very long time, because I was absolutely not an easy man. But I saw not any reason to change. Not for humanity, not for myself, because I had not any problem with it. But I started struggling with my own mentality towards people, and I didn't care anymore if they were good or not good. I didn't see any difference. The only thing I thought I did no good, but by acting in many times the same way how other people did, I learned later on that it was the wrong way. That at a certain moment, and it was at my 39th year, maybe my 40th year, there was coming a man to my work. And I started in conversation with this man about what my spiritual life was. And I never talked about a spiritual life. I had my ideas about the universe. I had my ideas about afterlife, but I never thought in a way about spiritual life. I had very good conversations with this man, and the second or third time that I met this man, he brought me a picture, and he showed me a picture of what eventually was Sri Haidakhandi Baba. When he showed me the picture, I did not understand. I saw an old woman. Who was digesting a lot of rubbish from other people. Something I did already all my life. After he showed me the picture, he disappeared. A couple of weeks later, he showed himself. And I said, "You have to show me that picture again, because it didn't leave me alone." And I asked him, "Why do you show me a picture of an old woman who digests all this rubbish?" And he started laughing, and he said, "I don't have the picture with me, but next time I see you, I bring it." And I don't know how many time it took, maybe 1-2 months. And there he came again, and he showed me the picture. And I saw it was a young man who was digesting a lot of rubbish from other people. And I got more or less confused, because it touched me in some way. He said, "You want to have the picture?" I said, "Yes." I took the picture, and then he said, "We have, in a couple of months from now, in, I don't know, it was September or October, he said, we have a Paduka Puja in the Willemstraat in Amsterdam, in Holland." And I said, "What is a Paduka Puja?" He said, "That's some kind of group meditation. See if you like the pump." Eventually, when that day came, I finished my work, and for the first time I asked myself what I'm gonna do tonight. And the first thing what arises was that there was near my home this group meditation, what he called Paduka Puja. I thought, what do I have to lose? I went there, It seemed to be a very special happening that evening. There were around 200 people, I think, some press and a lot of noise. Some man in the building came to me. He said, "For what are you coming?" I said, "Berupa puja." He said, "You go up to this big room on your left hand." I went up. I saw this big room. I looked. I saw all these people sitting in a meditation pose. I looked to my right and I saw this altar. And on this altar was this picture of this man. So I thought, I don't know. I just sit down between the people. I never did any meditation in my life. And while I was sitting there with my eyes closed, I got really irritated. And I felt really anger arising in me. And at a certain moment, I thought, this is crazy. How can you call this meditation? How can you call this meditation with the people together? There was so much noise that I just didn't understand. And I opened my eyes and it was quiet. And everybody was sitting with his eyes closed. But there was this man from the picture was standing right in front of me. And he was looking really, really, really angry at me. And the only thing I thought, this man is really angry. And then he talked to me. He said, you change any thought you have. And every thought that comes up in your mind. Instead of thinking that something special happens or whatever, I reacted. I know this already for a very long time. And I knew all my life already. Because I'm looking all the time at that picture from myself. That's not nice to other people. And I closed my eyes. Because as soon as I started thinking, I thought, what's going on? But I closed my eyes, but it was like they were still open. And the whole scene was still there, but on a different place. So I opened directly my eyes again, and instead of thinking again that something special is happening, I thought, which people are fooling around with me? As soon as I thought that, I started realizing that something had to change. I stood up and I went home, but somebody walked with me, and that was Sri Haidakhandi Baba. And I actually asked for the first time, help me alive. Because I said, I know I have to change, but I don't know how. I said, I cannot do this alone. I said, I learned really, really, really hard. And I had a really, really hard life. And that's why I said it. I said, when you can let fall all this anger that I use in my life, let it fall back on my own shoulders, maybe I can learn something from it. In the next 4 years after that, I had very long periods that I really, really had to fight for my life. I was feeling really, really bad and heavy many times. I became sick all the time. And it made me angry, but I could not be that man anymore with who I identified. I thought I was that angry man, but it was not there anymore. Not in the way I knew it. After these 4 years, this same man came to me. And he said, we are building a temple in Holland. Actually, he said, we're rebuilding the temple because it was burned down before. He said, we need some volunteers. If you like to help for a day or a couple of days, I said, you're welcome. I said, I will see. And I thought by myself, I think this is the first decent thing what actually approaching me in my life to do as a volunteer, and that's building a temple. So actually I forgot, but it happened that the day came that the man came again to me. He said, "Tomorrow I'm going to the temple. Do you like to come with me?" I said, "Yes, I'm coming." And actually when I did that, I arrived at the scene there. I saw all these pictures of Babaji. And slowly I started realizing who I met and thinking about how I was acting towards him. I thought I would stay a couple of days, but actually I arrived and I left 6 months later. And I met a tremendous amount of really, really great people. Pujari, Rakupir, and many of them. Really, really, really great talks. They really warmed my heart. They shared their stories, and later on I found their stories back, and I felt not so terribly alone anymore. And my life was getting a purpose. And I was changing by acting in a peaceful and in a good way towards people. I justified always with what the people gave to me, only I multiplied it. And that was very wrong. But it's nice to tell that eventually, in all these years afterwards, Babaji appeared many times in my dreams. And he helped me with a lot of things. He showed me the most simple things in life. From what I really was flattered that it was about such simple things. When the temple was finished, Sri Guru Muniraji Maharaj, he was on his way more or less to Holland, and he would give his blessings, and I didn't know him, and I heard a lot of stories. He was ill, and he was in the hospital, and he couldn't make it, and before he could come, he passed away. And actually that made me really disappointed, because I thought all these people, I'd meet these holy people, and now I also miss him to meet. I left the temple after 6 months, and I came after a while back, almost a year after I left. And that was actually in the time that the Samadhi from Sri Guru Muniraji was celebrated, and people from all kind of places came over to the temple for this celebration. And there were many things before in that week, because it took a week. And when this puja to Muniraji was there the day before, I felt I must not come to that temple. I felt what I felt as a kid when I broke down. And I thought, I don't want to break down. But the feeling got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I decided not to go to the temple that evening. So I locked myself up in the room. But it seems that when his puja was going on, somebody pushed me out of that room. I don't know who it was, but it was like a hand in my back. And I went to the temple. And in the temple, I saw this same light where Babaji was standing in, where I met him around the altar of Muniraji. And I said to myself, I stay in the back, because this goes not good. And I was standing for a minute, and Pujari comes to me and he wants to give me the Deepak. And I said, no. And I did a couple of more steps back. But there was a really big Hindustan man. I saw him a couple of times before, but I never had a talk or whatever with him. This man was observing me, and he walked to the Pujari, took the Deepak from him. He walked straight at me, he put the Deepak in my hand, and he pushed me to the altar. And I was standing in front of the altar of Muniraji. And I was waving with the Deepak. And then I felt that when I stopped this, that I would break. And I said to myself, I'm not going to break in front of all these people. And I kept on waving. And then the Pujari came and he took the Deepak out of my hand, and as soon as he did that, I ran out of the temple to my room. But somebody was following me. I went to my room and I did not lay under my blankets. I started laying under my mattress. And then somebody came next to me and he made me in a sitting pose, and he put an arm around me. And that was Muniraji. And then he took me, he lifted his arm, and I was gone out of there. And I was in this divine light. I saw these faces and beings coming out of that light. And Muniraji started talking to me. He said, here, you're welcome. I said, you're welcome here. What I experienced in very, very strong way with Muniraji. But it was at the same time a really big disappointment towards myself, because I had to cross my hands at a certain moment before my eyes. And I said to Muniraji, stop. I know enough. I could not handle it. It was too strong. And then he left, and I went knocked out. When I woke up next morning in the temple, the sun was shining full. I never was the same man. After Babaji, I never was the same man. But after Muniraji, some really big backpack from my shoulder disappeared. But I knew that I had a long way to go. It's a very hard time we're living in. And I come from a very violent family. I grew up in the city, but I cannot make sense out of it. The only sense I can make is that I understand in this world that everybody has to change the way how he's thinking. The thoughts they make have to change. I drift on the teachings of Babaji. Everything he said are very short sentences, but makes incredible sense and touches my heart. That's where I could make a little space for him and for the other divine beings, for the Baba Kikai.